Hi, this is Indranil and you are watching Business Bites in our channel The Spotlight, India's first online business news channel. In today's Business Bites, first news we have US and China sat across the table to deal with rare earth export curbs when US signaling a willingness to remove restrictions. Second news we have fintech major Crate raised $72 million at a valuation of $3.5 billion with their plan for a potential IPO in 2 years. Third news we have leading diagnostic chains are planning to scale up their operations as COVID cases surging in India. Fourth news we have fashion retailer Shein and their partner Reliance Retail to sell India-made clothes abroad within 6 to 12 months. And fifth news we have Nexus venture partner to invest $15 million in Rapido ahead of their food delivery service debut. In first news, US and China sat across the table to deal with rare earth export curbs when US signaling a willingness to remove restrictions. There was a talk between the US and China in London, with the US signaling a willingness to remove restrictions on exports in exchange for assurances that China is easing limits on rare earth shipments. The Trump administration expects that after the handshake in London, any export controls from the US will be eased and rare earths will be released by China, and it was the clearest signal yet that the US is willing to offer such a concession. The first round of negotiations since the team met a month ago is aimed at restoring confidence that both are living up to commitments made in Geneva. During those discussions, Washington and Beijing agreed to lower crippling tariffs for 90 days to allow time to hammer out ways to address a trade imbalance that the Trump administration blames on an unfair playing field. The confusion after the Geneva meeting about China's rare earth export permitting process, combined with US limits on tech shipments and Washington's recent crackdown on Chinese student visas, underscore the complexity of deal-making between China and the US. A phone call last week between US President Donald Trump and his counterpart Chinese President Xi Jinping appeared to give fresh momentum to reviving talks and reaching a deal. When the talk signals Trump may be willing to consider reversing some of the restrictions that threaten to hobble China's long-term growth ambitions, ranging from tech supplies to jet engine parts. In second news, fintech major Crate raised $72 million at a valuation of $3.5 billion with their plan for a potential IPO in 2 years. Fintech major Crate has raised 617 crore, that is about $72 million from investors at a valuation of $3.5 billion when the latest funding happened at a lower valuation compared with 2022 when a financing round led by Singapore sovereign fund GIC had valued it at $6.4 billion. Crate has received 354 crore from Lotte Investment, which is wholly owned by GIC. It also saw an infusion of 74 crore from RTP Global, 25.8 crore from Safina Ventures, and 162 crore from Kunal Shah's family office QED Innovation Labs. When the financing is in the form of primary capital, which means no existing investor has sold any shares in this round. Crate has reported revenue of 2,473 crore, which is up by 66% from their previous year in financial year 2024, with an operating loss of 609 crore, which is down from 1,024 crore in the year before. The company is building a large financial services business beyond its core credit card bill payment operations, where it offers unsecured consumer loans and secured credit products like loan against mutual funds. It has helped its leading partners create a loan book of 15,000 crore. Crate is also building its insurance play through a vehicle management platform called Crate Garage, and in November 2024, the company disclosed that it had around 4.4 million users on Crate Garage. In third news, leading diagnostic chains are planning to scale up their operations as COVID-19 cases surging in India. India's COVID cases have crossed 6,000 with 358 new cases being reported in the last 24 hours. According to the data by the Union Health Minister, Kerala has been the most affected by COVID-19 with as many as 1,957 active cases. Leading diagnostic chains are looking to scale up their operations amid surging COVID-19 cases in India as they are seeing a noticeable spike in the testing, particularly RT-PCR and rapid antigen tests. However, there is a little consensus on taking booster shots. To ensure prompt service, diagnostic centers have enhanced their testing capacity, streamlined workflows, and reinforced staffing, even extending their working hours. When rapid RT-PCR machines and AI-based analytics have been integrated by diagnostic centers to reduce turnaround times and now average 4 to 6 hours for urgent cases. Over approximately the last 2 to 3 months, there is a spike in reverse transcription polymerase chain reaction, that is RT-PCR testing, by 70%. And the rise in testing is a positive shift as people are now choosing awareness over fear, when timely testing is crucial as it allows prompt intervention and improves one's overall well-being. According to the doctors, people with COVID-19 are showing symptoms like the previous strain, mainly Omicron. The common symptoms include sore throat, fatigue, mild fever, cough, and occasional stomach upset or poor appetite. Loss of taste and smell is less common this time, but persistent cold-like symptoms will need timely attention. Doctors are suggesting to take precautionary measures like masks in crowded places and maintaining good hand hygiene. However, booster shots are not needed at this point. In fourth news, fashion retailer Shein and their partner Reliance Retail to sell India-made clothes abroad within 6 to 12 months. The China-founded Singapore-headquartered Shein has been discussing plans with the Indian retailer since before the US imposed tariffs on Chinese imports that intensified the need to diversify sourcing, when the aim is to raise Indian suppliers to 1,000 from 150 within a year. In a statement, Shein said its partnership with Reliance was limited to the licensing of its brand to Reliance Retail for Indian domestic consumption only, where Shein sells low-priced apparel such as $5 dresses and $10 jeans shipped directly from 7,000 suppliers in China to customers in around 150 countries. Shein's biggest market is the US, where it is adjusting to tariff on low-value e-commerce packages from China, which could previously be imported duty-free. On the contrary, Mukesh Ambani-led Reliance has contracted 150 garment manufacturers and is in discussion with 400 more, as the goal is 1,000 Indian factories making Shein-branded clothes within a year for both the Indian market and to service some of the Shein's global websites. Shein initially wants to list India-made clothes on its US and British websites, when the discussions have been ongoing for months and the launch time for next 6 to 12 months could change depending on suppliers' numbers, when for the first time the scale of suppliers' expansion and export time frame is being reported. And in fifth news, Nexus venture partner to invest $15 million in Rapido ahead of their food delivery service debut. Nexus venture partners will invest 125 crore, which is around $15 million in the urban mobility platform Rapido as part of a large financing round last year that valued it at $1.1 billion. The fund infusion comes ahead of Rapido's foray into food delivery, for which it plans to launch a pilot this month, when Rapido is looking to challenge the dominance of Eternal's Zomato and Swiggy in food delivery, while Swiggy holds a 12% stake in Rapido. According to agreed terms with industry body National Restaurant Association of India, that is NRAI, Rapido is expected to charge commissions in the range of 8 to 15% from restaurant, compared to 16 to 30% Zomato and Swiggy used to charge. Rapido's $200 million funding round last year was led by Westbridge Capital. This was followed by a $30 million investment by Dutch investor Prosus, which is also a large investor in Swiggy. Rapido is also planning to enter the insurance distribution space, where it could target its driver partners and customers for products such as health, life, general, and motor insurance. Over last year, the company, which started off as a bike taxi platform, expanded into four-wheeler ride-hailing, taking on Uber and Ola, when in fiscal 2025, Rapido's gross order value more than doubled to 1.25 billion US dollar on the back of growth in its ride-hailing services. So these were the top 5 business newses from Business Bytes in our channel The Spotlight, India's first online business news channel. I'd like to request you to please subscribe this channel so that you can have all the updates from our end. Thank you very much for watching Business Bytes and signing it off.